Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nicky V. I'm a studio musician and producer here in Nashville. For those of you that don't know me, I do a bunch of like behind the scenes tracking sessions and how records are made and things like that. So today I thought I would go on a little rant. I just finished shooting a guitar course, so I had all the lights and everything set up. And this comes up a lot, and it's does Nashville music suck? And there's a lot of music being made in Nashville that's not country. And so I'm going to leave that for a separate discussion another day, but this can be primarily focused on the country music genre. So we used to have 3 chords in the truth, and now apparently we have 2 chords in a loop. That's something that I've heard thrown around town in the last couple of years. And it's kind of accurate, unfortunately, at times, but there's a lot of good music being made every day too. So we're going to get into that. But first of all, let's talk about Nashville and what's in its DNA. Nashville is a city that has publishing in its bones. And that goes actually back not to music publishing, but like to book publishing. We have Printer's Alley downtown, for example. And it started off back in the 1800s as pretty much like Christian literature and printing off Bibles and stuff like that. So Nashville knows publishing, and then it trickled down into modern day music publishing, and they know how it works. And a lot of it is throwing spaghetti at the wall until you see what sticks, right? And what they'll do is they'll put a lot of writers on staff, and publishing companies will hire writers in town to come in and crank out a certain number of songs, and they might put them on a salary or take a percentage of whatever songs they write. And for all of you that are already like, well, that's just mechanical and, that's not creative, whatever. All of our favorite songwriters, small time, are doing the same thing. Like Carole King was at the Brill Building in New York with, all the most legendary writers of all time cranking stuff out. That's not just a uniquely Nashville thing. But Nashville has been doing it for a long time and doing it well. And these publishers crank out this huge catalog of songs to pull from, and they try to keep the genre moving forward and stay current as to what people are wanting and listening to. And music has to move forward, because anytime a genre comes along and kind of stays where it's at and doesn't progress, it dies. That's just what happens. And there's a few examples of that, but I'm not going to call those out to hurt anybody's feelings, but I know how sensitive you guys are on here. But Nashville country music in particular, it seems to evolve rapidly. I would say at times even faster than pop, which is pretty crazy because pop is constantly changing. So let's take this by decade, and I'm going to give specific examples for each one. But before we get into that, let's just pretend that Nashville stuck with like the 90s era of Keith Whitley country. Fantastic golden era of country music, right? Like amazing writing, great musicianship, all the good stuff. And it's amazing. There's nothing wrong with that, but it would have if say we stuck with that, we'd have a much smaller, loyal, diehard fan base that just is ate up with that, and it wouldn't have expanded to the point it's at now. Country music has exploded, and it's cross genres. It's blended in some rock influence, definitely some pop influence, which we all know, and honestly, like some soul influence as well has come into it recently. I mean, listen to like any new Old Dominion record. There's a ton of like soul and R&B on that. And so it's pulling in a lot of new fans. And Rick Beata did a video on this showing how country music has like exploded basically across the United States compared to other genres recently. But that small loyal fan base that just loves Keith Whitley, now if you guys love that and you're just like diehard for that and you love complaining about all the new stuff, you can still go listen to guys like Zach Tobb, Jake Worthington, and just guys that are cool like Lucas Nelson. And my buddy just played on, my buddy Dakota Holden just played the Fallon Show with Lucas. And like, what an amazing artist. I mean, like monster guitar player, musician, writer, the whole 9 yards right here in Nashville. And if there's any artists out there right now that are kind of unknown that you guys think are great, put them down in the comments. Throw it down there, let other people check them out. And if you think I'm completely full of it and hate everything I'm saying, put that down in the comments too. Let's hear it. And you guys always have it out down there. So there's stuff for everybody out there. But let's start breaking this down by decade. So I'm not going to dig back into like, 60s, 70s, 80s country. We all know what that was. It was great. It's wonderful. We had Waylon and Willie and all of the staples, our primary food groups of the day, right? And then we get into the 2000s. And this is where it started to like anger people and make people really upset, and big opinions started to be born about country music. And I blame it on the puppet era of country music videos. I remember being at like my grandma's house. I was born in 93. And I remember being like, 11, 12 years old. And in the early 2000s, watching CMT and seeing like puppets on country music videos, even at like 12 years old, being like, this is so lame. And you had like the badonkadonk kind of songs come along. And at the same time, though, you would have songs like Alan Jackson's Like Red on a Rose, which is the highest level. Those videos will like literally come on one after each other. It'd be the highest level of artistry, musicianship, mastery, all the good stuff that we love about music. Then you have this very consumed kind of music, and that brings me to this point too. Music can have multiple purposes. Some music is produced and made to be consumed, and then some music is made to be cherished. And I think I heard that on a podcast called 10 Year Town, that kind of phrase. I'm butchering it, but that's basically what they were talking about, and it's so true. Because you got like Red on a Rose by Alan Jackson, which is music that you can listen to that song 75 years from now and it's still going to be valid. Every single note that goes into every instrument on that record, the way he sings it, the vocal production, the mic choices, everything is completely top shelf, done to the nines, as good as it can be done. The song is timeless. It was timeless from the minute it was recorded. And then you have the Badongadonk thing, which sold a ton of records, made a ton of money, pulled people into country music. So they both serve their purpose, right? One was made to be consumed, one was made to be cherished. And there's a ton of examples of that. But then you get into the 2010 era, and you got guys like Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean coming along. And, you know, you start seeing the rock influence on the Aldean stuff come into it. So the music's evolving more, right? In the early 2000s, a lot of it had a lot of sheen, polish, stellar musicianship, all the hallmarks of Nashville on it, a lot of production. And then Aldean comes along and it starts getting, you know, more gritty and heavy. And you got drummers in town like Steve Brewster that are kind of changing the way music's being played because of like Dierks Bentley records, and it's getting cool. And then at the same time, it turns a lot of people away because you'll have a second verse that's a rap. And they're like, oh man, it's so cool with the intro guitars and they're rocking out. There's all this crazy stuff. But we have rap in the second verse. And your uncle is not down with that. And they're like, you know, why is there rap in my country music? And they're all angry and pissed off about this. But what it did is it expanded the genre. It pulled in a lot more people. And the same kids that were listening to that song on sitting in truck beds in Alabama would have been listening to pop music in LA if they wouldn't have had that rap in the second verse, because that's what kids do. Kids like new stuff and try new things, and they didn't want to listen to their grandpa's country all the time. And personally, I love grandpa's country, but I have to earn a living within the medium of modern country music to pay my bills and support my family. And there's moments that it's amazing and it's beautiful. There's moments where it's more so music that's meant to be consumed and it's a job. And that's fine. It's good to have both. And sometimes when you have songs that are in the badonkadonk kind of feel that make you appreciate the like Red on a Rose songs that come along. Quick little side note, I forgot to shoot this in the video earlier. Two things of note. Number one, merch is here. Finally, I know, right? Hit that link down in the description. You can get your Nashville Tracking t-shirt. It's an Amazon link, so it's there in like 3 days or something. It's super fast. Number two, the guitar course is finally coming out. I know it's taken a while, but I wanted to make sure it was going to be done right. And the release date is August 1st. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be talking about it more in future videos. But it's being uploaded to Squarespace right now. It's done, edited. So it's definitely coming out August 1st. Appreciate you guys. Back to the rant. So back to the 2010 thing, you know, at the same time you have, you know, snaps on 2 and 4 happening, and which is like a very dark period in country music for a lot of fans. You had the snaps on 2 and 4, some kind of like droning loop and a mumbled lyric. That wasn't, I think, country's like brightest days, probably. But it had to happen to get us where we're at now. But at the same time that was happening, Zach Brown releases Colder Weather, which is going to be a timeless song. I think it was probably 2011 or something that came out, I guess. And it was amazing. And it's still going to be amazing in 35 years when you listen to it. It's a true piece of art. It's a song that's meant to be cherished. And that brings us to today, where you have the kind of the Morgan Wallen, you know, expertly produced records. And people can talk all they want about Wallen, but those records are great. The production on it's incredible, and the musicianship. I think you got Bukovac playing on that, and then you got Todd Lombardo on acoustic. Good luck finding 2 finer guitar players. I mean, and so if you just put on headphones and listen to the last 10 Wallen releases, the level of artistry that's going in to those notes on those records, that you immediately are like, oh, that's Wallen, you know, I like Waylon, you know, whatever. Like, listen to that stuff. It's great. Like, give it a shot. And then you have the Zach Bryan stuff, which might be a flavor of the month right now, with kind of like the rough, almost out of tune acoustics with dead strings. And what it is, though, and the reason I think it's popular is because there's a degree of authenticity to it, which people are missing because we're in this era of TikTok made artist, you know, and sometimes the real thing comes along and it really stands out when it does. Even if it's not that real, but it might seem a little bit real, people still latch on to it. And I think you know what I'm talking about there. But all that to say, There's good and there's bad out there. The fool defines the group, right? So the snaps on 2 and 4 era of country music is pretty rough, and that kind of outshined a lot of the really great things that were happening in those years as well. You just didn't hear about them because it's more fun to complain and talk poorly about something. I work on a ton of music here in town, and I see a lot of it, like not just country, all kinds of styles. In the last month and a half, I produced 5 records. One was for a pop artist, like an LA kind of thing. One was like a singer-songwriter, indie, folky, kind of acoustic-based album. Then I did like a straight commercial country album for a duo. And I love doing all that. There's a lot of stuff out there. Just because of the volume of songs I work on, I feel like I have a decent grasp of what percentage of music is like made to be consumed and what's made to be cherished. And I would say it's like 70-30. I feel like 70% of the songs that are being put out there, at least that I'm working on, are made to be like, this has a purpose, which is to be commercial and sell records and, put butts in seats on tours. And then 30% of it is somebody making a song because they believe in making that song. And it's a song that's meant to be cherished. And I love that. I like working on both. And I've worked on enough songs. Like, say you are one of these guys that just like loves Waylon, right? First of all, Waylon Jennings told me nobody likes a name dropper. It's my favorite quotes. But, I've worked in the last 5 years, I've probably worked with 10 artists that have like Waylon in their DNA, right? It's, 4 on the floor, 1s, flat 7s and 4s with a phaser on a telly. And that music's out there. If you love Waylon but are tired of listening to the same 15 songs for the last 35 years, go find these new artists. They're out there. I know it's more fun to complain about everything being terrible right now, but they're out there. You just got to go find them. And those records that I play on that are more on the meant to be consumed side, that is meant to basically sell records, or this one will sell records, is to get streams. I'm there to serve that song and serve the purpose of that. I can find the catchy lick and do the right guitar tone that might be the flavor of the month or whatever. But at the same time, I'm going to try to find some way to inject some degree of artistry into what I'm doing, or some degree of something that's really tasteful for the 1% that might catch it, right? And that's a fun game for me. It's like, okay, we have this medium we're operating in that might not be ideal. Let's try to make the best out of it we can. And that's cool. I appreciate that. And I appreciate my colleagues who do the same thing, because I see my friends doing it every day. And it's not always easy, but they're doing it. It pretty much all boils down to this. People love to complain. And you can't take that away from them, especially when they've made it their identity for the last, 30 years of their life. So for those of you out there that are like, Nashville music sucks and you hate Nashville, that's fine. I know we got a lot of traffic here, but we got hot chicken and we make a lot of great music. You just might not have heard it yet. And that's on you. You got to go dig for it. The radio's not going to play it. The stuff you like, they probably won't play. You really got to go look for it. Hunt through Spotify suggested playlist, find an artist you like, go to create radio station based on that artist, see who else pops up, check out their other stuff. Don't just listen to their most popular song. Listen to the B side of the record. There's a lot of gold on that. And guys, try to stay positive. Music's nothing but a good thing. Enjoy it. Don't make it a bad negative thing. And if there's any artists, producers, or songwriters out there watching this that want to get their music recorded, all you got to do is hit that link down in the description. It takes you to my website called NashvilleTracking.com, and just shoot me an email. All the pricing's on there. It shows everything. I have a great team of guys I work with here in Nashville. Love them to death. And we work on a lot of tunes, and I'm proud of what we do. And I love the city. I've been here 7 years. I feel like I'm still new to it, but I absolutely love it. It's been nothing but great to me. And I love the musicians I met here and the artists and the people I work with. So if you like this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments what you think. If you're like, man, you're so full of it, everything's terrible, throw it down there. Let's talk about it. And the comments are always fun here on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. And it means a lot you taking the time to listen to me ramble on here for however long this took. I don't know. But appreciate it. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Y'all have a good one.